can see we have these images, which are particularly not very texture friendly, because they have this weird perspective thing that's not really good. This is not really something you would call being a texture file, because these are really weird, have weird perspectives and stuff like that. And this one over here, the previous one, this one even has some watermarks on going to it. Open it up. As you can see, there's some watermarks as well, and we'll fix that as well. So let's go. So first things first, let's open up our Photoshop. This is going to be a very simple and beginner-friendly tutorial, so you really don't have to worry much about it. First things first, I would like to extract the texture of this building. This particular area is what I'm interested in. So we can do is go into the crop tool and firstly just isolate the area that I'm wanting. I also want this road. This road looks very good, but I only want this building to be my target. So I've cropped this area out. So now there are a few issues. These trees, we're not going to worry about them because they would this is going to be something like a prop that's going to sit in the background anyways, but we can definitely erase them if you want to. But for now, let's not think about that first. So once everything is done, everything is selected, we're going to go into the edit over here, and over here we should get an option called perspective wrap. And what this basically allows you to do is to manipulate the perspective of the image that it's currently in. So firstly, click on any corner. For example, I will start from here, and then you should get a box like this. And then what you want to do is to align this box accordingly to the part that you want, that you it's a bit hard to tell what this is, but you do get the idea that we are fixing the perspective of it. So you want to align this square on the areas that you want to fix the perspective of. So once that, hit enter on your keyboard, and now you can simply manipulate the perspective, and like this you can turn this into something that is much more usable as a texture file. So you can do this. As you can see, the image is a bit low quality, but that's definitely fine because I'm going to use this as like a background image anyway, so it's definitely fine. So now what you want to do is to check out these areas. For example, this pipe looks a little bit off-centered, so what I want to do is to simply fix it until it looks nice to my eyes. So once that is done, I'm going to hit OK, and again I'm going to go to the crop tool, and I'm going to just crop out this area because this is what I'm looking for. I'm simply going to crop this area out. We can keep that excess over there, but I don't really think we need to. For now, that is done. So yeah, we're pretty much on a very good start here. So if we zoom in, there are some issues over there. So we can go ahead and select this M tool, which is the selection tool. You can select these particular areas, and then we can hit Shift F5 on our keyboard to bring up the content fill aware. And from here, we can select content aware, and then we can hit OK, and that should automatically fix up this area. It might not look perfect, but it's definitely something that we can do. So over here, there's also some issues. So I'm gonna select here, Control Shift F5. Sorry, no, it's not Control Shift, it's actually Shift F5. So yeah, that's done. A little bit over here, but I think I'm gonna keep. Actually, no, I'm not gonna keep it. I'm gonna just erase this part completely. Again, Shift F5, and as you can see, that is perfect. Now it might look a little bit weird, a little bit on the tilted side. If it does, you can definitely fix this with perspective changing again. I'm gonna again do that. From here, I'm gonna again fix the perspective just a little bit because it looks a little bit wanky on this area. You don't have to perfectly align it for now because I just want to fix this area. Yeah, hit OK, and as you can see, it's completely aligned. It looks just perfect. So now, as you can see, the texture looks nice, and this is definitely something you can use on your game now. But one thing you might realize is that the texture is definitely not not looking good. It's a lot blurrier than you would expect it to be. And usually PS1 textures had a lot of dithering in them to hide this blurriness. Sort of like the colors didn't mix and blend so well. So because of that, it looks kind of like an N64 texture more than a PS1's texture. If you're going for like an N64 style, then this is something that I would definitely tell you that this looks good. But since we're going for a PS1 style, I'm going to go into the image section, onto the mode section, and from there on, we're going to come down here and select the indexed color. And this should bring up this menu, which can allow you to limit the amount of colors that are present in the scene. As you can see, currently it's limiting them to 32. And as for the options, we got a dither, and the dithering is set to pattern. So if I were to like go over to here, and as you can see, there's a lot of dithering going over here. If I zoom too much, it's not noticeable. As you can see, these areas are dithering. If I set the pattern to none, as you can see, there's no more dithering left. But if I turn it on to something like pattern, it gives us the dithering that we're looking for. We can also use noise, which creates this weird looking dithering. This might be something that you're going for, but I definitely would recommend using the pattern one, because it looks much nicer. And from here we can adjust the amount of colors I want. I think 32 is a lot less. It looks very dead. I'm gonna give it like something like 64, and that brings a lot more life back to it. As you can see, there is a lot more blending here as well. So something like 52, or maybe something like let me just check the highest amount of colors. 64 is good. So I think something like 34 maybe is like a sweet spot here. You can increase this by hitting Alt on the keyboard and then using our mouse scroll wheel to just see what it will look like if we lower it too much. So you can actually create some 8-bit style graphics as well with this, but I'm not going for that right now. Increase it until it gives me something that I'm looking for. I think something like 35 is good for me. I'm gonna hit OK, and here we go. Our first texture is completely ready, and the size, as you can see over here, we can see the size of the pixels which this texture is in. This is like 171 by 190. This looks good. So the first texture is completely done, and now we can do is go ahead and hit quick export, call it something like building 1, and that's done. Now it's for the second one. So as you can see, we created something that looked like this. We turned that into something like this, and this is definitely a texture that you can use on Blender or any game you want to. So now next we're going to create a bit of a different one. We're going to create a sort of like a seamless texture. So on this instance, we have this wall over here. So as you can see, this wall, this is what I want. I want to select this area and create sort of like a seamless texture with this particular area. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag and drop this onto my Unity, onto my Photoshop. So that's good. And now I'm gonna use the crop tool, and I'm gonna simply crop out the area that I want. So I want only this. Try to make sure that it is like, you know, like this. I'm gonna do this. It's we can actually go from over here. We can change this like we can give it something like 108 to 8, 128 by 128 to create this sort of like a square. And I'm gonna just align it over here, and that looks good. This is looking good. We can definitely create a little bit more, but this thing, I think this looks better. So we got a sort of like a this area over here. We can fix this weird shadowing. We can try to fix that by hitting Control Shift F, Content Aware Fill. That sort of does it, but also creates this weird creasing. But we can definitely fix that. We can use the clone brush over here. We can select the clone tool. We can hit Alt to select a cloning sample. We can click over here, and then we can just use this to clone it up. Again, select the sample from there, slowly clone it up. Might look a little bit weird, but that's fine. You can also select this area, and then we can just clone it over to this. We might have to do it a few times just to get it right, but it should be fine. It's not gonna look completely perfect just yet, but we're gonna work on that. It looks a bit weird, but that's fine, that's fine. Now we can use the spot healing tool over from here. We can use spot healing brush, and then we can use that to sort of create this healing effect. And from here as well, maybe a little bit on this area so that it doesn't look that bad. It is kind of messed up because the amount of pixels that are present is not perfect. It's not a lot. It's a very less pixels to work with. but that's definitely fine. You can just go around doing this, and that should give you something like this. This is not perfect, but this is definitely something that I am happy with. Okay, now we're gonna fix the seamlessness of it, but before that, you can edit it out a little bit more. You can do a little bit more stuff like that, but for now this looks fine to me. So as you can guess, this texture is not going to be exactly seamless on the y-axis. It's only going to be seamless on the x-axis, meaning it's going to be seamless on only from the left to right because of this blue area, because we cannot seamlessly we can only seamlessly blend something if it's only a single color on the every end possible. Since it's only divided over from here, we can only seamless it from x to y. That's how the textures work. So firstly, you want to see if it's properly working on a seamlessness. So first things we want to do is to go on to our over to the image, or no, actually no. We're gonna go into the filter, and from there we're gonna go into the other, and from here what we can use is we can use the offset filter. So from here we can simply increase this a little bit so that we can get to see this seamless crease over here. Increase it, and we can get this creasing. So this looks a little bit weird, and we're gonna be fixing this exactly. We can also increase the vertical, but that's really not something that we want to do. We're gonna copy this one up. I can just do that, and this looks good. You can hit OK to get this done. So now we're gonna go ahead and select this select tool. We're gonna go in between here. We can get a little bit more space to work with, and then we can Control Shift F, content our fill, and that should do it. It doesn't look perfect. There's a little bit weird creasing there, here and there, but this is the best we can do with the most simplest basic tools available in our hands. This is like the very basic version of it, and if you do this for some background textures, I don't really think anyone will notice anything. So once that is done, we can again go back into our filter, offset. We can now, as you can see, there is no creasing left. It just seamlessly blends all together. Now I can just get my original texture back. I think this was the one. I'm gonna fix this and hit OK. And as you can see, this is completely seamless, and there shouldn't be an issue. But just in case there is an issue, before you isolate the colors, and from here on, I can go ahead onto my image, go to mode, and go onto the indexed color. And I can simply start isolating the numbers of colors here to something lower, so that doesn't look that. You can lower it even more if you want to. I think the more you do it, the more it looks weird. So I'm gonna come down to like this, like this, hit OK, and that should create our perfect texture over here. There's there's dithering present, and everything is looking nice, steady. One thing you might notice that small, tiny black dots might appear. That's because of the colors being isolated too much. And honestly, I haven't found a way around it yet. If I turn off the dithering, as you can see, they're still present. This happens usually because of like when the particular colors are too much down, it just looks a bit weird. I think the more we dither it, the more it looks weird. We can fix this by changing the forced to none, and that might create some inaccuracies, but I think this looks nice. There's no proper way around it, but I think just changing that to none looks a little bit better than what you'd expect. So from here I can again lower it down to something that I think looks nice. I think this looks very good, and I'm gonna hit OK. Again, this is definitely fine. Another thing that you can do just to check the seamlessness is to create a I'm gonna go ahead and create a new one over here, here, and from here, as you can see, this is something we can multiply it by 2. Oh, sorry about that. I think I already mistaked it. I'm gonna create a new texture, and first before that you wanna do is to select everything by Control A, and then hit Control C or Control X to copy it. I think I cut it. Control X to cut it, or Control Z to undo it, Control C to copy it. So I've copied it, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit a new. Once you have copied it, it should give you something like this from clipboard. And from here, I want to create like 2 times this. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the multiplication symbol over here, and I'm gonna hit enter 2. And I'm gonna go down here again, do the same thing, and that should create a twice big canvas as that. Now Control V on this one, and you should get this. Now you can hit V on your keyboard to move to the moving thing, or you cannot just select it from here. Then you can just paste it over there. I'm gonna Control V it again, and over here, as you can see, it just blends in perfectly. Now why I created twice the big is because if you have a texture that would do both X and Y seamlessness, you can again copy paste another version over here. But since mine doesn't do Y, it's only X, as you can see, it's perfect. It's just perfect looking texture. And that's it. That's it. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save this, export it. It's a quick PNG. I'm gonna remove this one, replace it, and that's pretty much it. That's how you can create a perfect seamless texture without, you know, worrying about where to get one from. You can create one for yourself. So that's pretty much it. Well, that's it. I really don't think. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you another demo from here. This building looks nice. We want to create a texture out of this one. So I'm gonna drag and drop it over here so that it creates a new thing for this. I'm gonna again go into the edit perspective wrap. I'm gonna select from there. I'm gonna go ahead and completely wrap this building up. You don't have to worry about these trees coming here. We're gonna erase them later. Hit enter, and then again just simply do your thing. Looks good. Go to the crop tool, crop the certain part. As you can see, it looks a bit weird because we've previously done this. I'm gonna just delete this completely here so that we get a complete open area to start cropping from. I'm gonna crop from there to all the way here. Hit enter. And a little bit of areas are looking a bit weird. We can just fix them by doing this. Control Shift F5, and I think it messed up a little bit, but that's fine. We can fix that later. Over here, we also have this weird shadow over here that we don't want, so I'm gonna select that. And also something is messing down here. I'm gonna select that as well. We can I hit Shift while doing so, and that allowed me to select extra areas on top of the areas I previously selected. I just hit Shift, and then I go on to the select tool, and then just, you know, drag and drop using my mouse. So that's done. Control Shift F5, content overfill, and that looks fine. A little bit of it here is a bit missing. Do this. Two. And that's fine. Another thing is I can do this, Control C, Control V it, and that should create a new one here. Hit V on your keyboard, and then you should be able to do this. If you can't do this, make sure that you have selected the right layer, otherwise it will not work. And then I can just paste it over here. And if it looks a bit weird, what we can do is we can just select both the layers here, and I can merge the layers together. And then I can go to the spot healing tool from here, and make sure to select the layer, go into the spot healing tool, and just select the areas that you think don't look or fit with this like this. You can again make the brush size smaller. You can hit Alt on your keyboard and then right click on your mouse to fix the size. I'm gonna make it a bit smaller, and I'm gonna do this. I think it looks a little bit weird. I think that looks fine. Actually, I really don't need to edit that, and that's fine. Also, these down areas, I don't want them to have windows, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit M on my keyboard to select the M selection tool. I'm gonna go over here. This is that I don't want. You can also be a little bit more specific here. I'm gonna select this area and shift and select this and this as well. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and do this. I think this looked okay. There's a little bit of this weirdness. Control Shift F and fix that. And that's pretty much it. We got it. And I think these trees need to go. I'm gonna select this. Control Shift F5, and that's fine. Okay. So yeah, there we go. it's looking just nice. I think the perspective wrapping is a bit off because as you can see there's a little bit of this, so I'm gonna can go to the edit, perspective wrap, select from anywhere I want. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Remember, this is like the very bare bone basics. There are a lot more things that you can do to make your textures look nice, but this is the very bottom basic of it. You need to use Photoshop a lot more to understand how the basics work. You need to understand more. You need to start using the Photoshop more to get used to its interface so that you can do a lot more than just this. So this is good. This is looking good. And this is not looking good, so I'm gonna select this, Control Shift F, and can't have our fill. That's fine. Now a little bit of creasing over here, but that's fine. That's fine because once we lower the colors, it's gonna be fine. Go ahead with the image, we can select, go ahead indexed color, and from here, as you can see, we can already get it. And the force is set to none again. If I set it to black and white, it does it does fixes a lot of things. But I'm just gonna set it to none so that it just dynamically does it for me. So from here on, I can lower the colors the more I want. But I think I'm gonna increase them a bit. And the texture size is a lot higher than you would expect here to be. So one thing that I would recommend you, if the texture size is too high, you can go to the image, from here to image size, and then from here you can change the dimensions. I'm gonna go ahead and I've selected the percent and locked it on. Otherwise it will not automatically do it for me. I can shrink it down to something like 50%. That gives us a 146 by 210. I don't want that. I want 40% and hit OK, and that gives us a 40% lower pixel texture. And then again I can go into the image mode, indexed color, and from there we can definitely just play around with the value, increase it more, decrease it more to get more nice looking textures. There are a bit issues. I'm just gonna turn off the transparency, which also fixes some of these. We can hit grab with this. We can create like that. Do a bit of this, that. Increase the colors a lot more, and I think this looks nice. Yeah, this is definitely good enough. And this is totally not seamless, but we can definitely create this as a seamless again by using that filter and all of that, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna export this. Oh, sorry. This is another option called the export as. You can also use this. I would definitely recommend you using this, but I mostly use the quick export because it does everything for me. And also for the resample, make sure you select nearest neighbor. This is what gives the image that sharp edges around, and you can do the same thing while on the image, and from here to the image resize. I think I didn't really do it before, and you can make sure the resample is set to nearest neighbor, and that creates the sharp edges and those PS1 style textures that have. And this is pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the image, export this, not export as, you can definitely do it as that, but I'm just gonna quick export it. I'm gonna create a new one, building 2, and that's it. And this is how you can create textures from almost any and every image. This is the simplest way you can create PS1 style textures, and that's it. That's pretty much it. You don't really have to worry about where to get textures from. You don't need to look out for different websites and stuff. This is basically the trick that I mostly use on my things, and I definitely just described how you can do it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give it a like if this was helpful, and well, you get the idea. So yeah.